Hey Frosties! Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Miss Jones in my home. Today we're going to make soft pretzels. Woo woo! So first what we're going to do is we're going to make the dough, and then again I'm going to show you later, once it rises, what to do after that. So we are going to make two different kinds of pretzels, just regular pretzels with a little salt, and then the other ones are going to be cinnamon sugar, my favorite. So we are going to make the dough first. Like always, before you start, wash your hands. Make sure it's hot water. Use that soap. Get in between those fingers. Real good. All right, and then I use a paper towel to dry off my hands. And we're ready. Yay. So I'm going to use a mixer today. If you don't have a mixer, you can do this by hand, and then you can knead the dough, and I'll show you how to do that at the very end. But if you have one of these, it's so much easier to use it this way. What you need if you have a hand mixer is you need the attachment that will mix, and then the beaters, and then you'll also need some sort of dough something. If you don't have that, you can also knead it by hand too as well, and I'll show you that at the end. But if you have one of these, it makes your life easier. So let's start. We're gonna measure out some flour. And we need 2.5 cups of flour. Remember, spoon. We're gonna spoon in our flour. I just refilled this. This is so much better. And I'm going to level off, add into my mixer. And remember, I need how much? 2.5 cups. All right, so I have 1 more cup. And how much more do I need? 2.5 cups. All right, so we have our flour. Yay, flour. And then I'm going to get some salt. So I need 1 teaspoon of salt. Teaspoon. Salt. All right, I can scoop this, but remember, whenever you're doing this, always need to level off when you are using salt. I'm going to add that to my mixture. Close him back up. And then I need my yeast. So, where's my yeast? Here. So we'll probably have watched a video about different types of yeast. So the different types of yeast in this recipe, you can use instant. Today I'm using rapid rise because I like that better when I'm trying to make a product that needs to rise rapidly, because it says it in the name. On your recipe, it's going to say you need 1 packet of yeast. So typically that's what most people use when they use yeast at home. You can buy it in the store really easily. It comes in those 3 envelopes of yeast. I like to measure it in the jar because it's a lot cheaper that way when you buy it in bulk. Those packets can be really expensive when you think about how much yeast you're getting, and it lasts for a long time, especially if it's dry yeast. So this is how I prefer to buy it. I buy it in little containers too. There's a great store in Pennsylvania that I go to, and they have all this bulk products, and I love that store. But for now, we need 1 packet, by the way, is 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. So that's how much I need to measure out. Whenever we are measuring yeast or anything that's a dry ingredient, we still need to make sure we level off. So I am going to get 2 1/4. Gonna level that off, put that into my mixture. Level him off too, and then I'm gonna get 1/4 of a teaspoon. All right, and then I'm gonna add that. Yeast done. Now I have my flour, I have my salt, I have my yeast. I am going to add a teaspoon of sugar. Remember, this one is scoop, this is not spoon. So we're gonna scoop our sugar, I'm gonna level it off. Now you don't have to add the sugar. What the sugar does is it helps the yeast to have something to eat on, basically. It thrives on sugar. Flour is essentially a carb that transitions into sugar, so really you don't need it, but this is in the recipe, so we'll use a little bit of sugar. Also, it kind of enhances the dough, it gives it a little sweetness, so that's really what we want it for. But if you don't want to add the sugar into the dough, you don't have to. So I have my flour, I have my sugar, I have my salt, I have my yeast, it's all in there. Next thing we need is some hot water. So I'm going to use what kind of measuring cup? Dry or wet? So I'm going to use a wet measuring cup. Now it says on your recipe 3 to 1 cup of water. I'm going to measure out 1 cup and then slowly add it in because flour has different moisture content. Sometimes it's dry, sometimes it's wet. Normally in the summer it's going to be a little bit moister because of the moisture in the air. And then in the winter it's going to be drier because of the dry air in your house. So I'm going to measure out that 1 cup. It's fallish, so you know it's in between. We'll see. We'll see how the moisture in the flour does. See how the flour does. See how he's feeling today. All right, I have 1 cup of water. Remember, whenever we measure, we're going to measure at eye level. So I'm going to put this here, right here, so I can see. Actually, I'll turn it this way. Let it settle. Oop, I have a little bit more than a cup. So I'm going to pour a little bit out. Now remember, you can't see that if you're just looking down in like this. So you have to measure at eye level. Still a little bit more, so I'm going to pour a little bit out. And we're good. So I have my water, it's warm. The key thing you want to remember when working with yeast, make sure your dough is warm. If your dough is cold, your yeast won't rise, and then you won't have pretzels or anything else you're making with yeast. Make sure your dough is warm. So whether that's putting it on top of your stove, and we'll talk about different ways that you can do, other ways that you can do that, but make sure your dough is warm. That's when you need warm water. Don't make it hot or you'll kill the yeast. Don't make it cold or your yeast won't awaken. So make sure that your water is warm, not hot, not cold. So I'm going to pour this in here. Ooh, I poured it all. Just pour a little bit. Slowly add it in. We're going to see how he does. Yeah, he looks like he needs the water anyways. I wish I had the mirror so that you guys could see. I should just like put a mirror in my house. Alright, so the dough's pretty wet. Now, dough right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to knead it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dough hook, and I'll show you how to put this on. We're going to knead it for 5 minutes. So if you don't have a dough hook, you're going to need to knead your dough. So here, let me clear a space so you can see this. Oh yeah, I got some of that. Okay, I'm going to put some flour down. Right there. I'm going to pull this off. I don't need this anymore. Wash that. All right, so when you are kneading dough, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a nice floured surface, okay? And then, here's my dough. I'm going to kind of make a flat surface. It's kind of like a disc. I love a good, disc whenever you're baking. Nice disc. So, you press down with the palm. Is that your palm? Yeah, I think it's your palm. The palm of your hand right here, this area, press into the dough and press forward. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your dough, you're going to move it, what is that, like 90 degrees. You move it this way, just move it this way. And then I'm going to fold it over. Well, here, let's do this. When I'm here, I'm going to fold it over, I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to press again into it. So I'm going to fold it over, press into it as I'm moving it. So I always come back to almost this half circle, and then I'm going to move it. So notice I'm not using my fingers, I'm only using the bottom part of my hand that I'm pressing into it. And as you start to do this, you'll feel the pressure of the dough. This is actually relaxing to me. I need some like calming music, some Zen music. Da-na-na. So you're going to do that for 5 minutes if this is you. If it's not you and you have the dough hook, we're going to put him back in there. Put him down. This is really where you need to lock your mixer. Make sure on the back you lock your mixer because it'll go, it'll go all crazy. So I'm going to slowly turn this on. Now notice here, he's fine. You start turning it up. See how he likes to move? He likes to move and move it. This is what's going to happen. So you got to be really careful. I would actually, if I were you, you got something like glass. I've had things where they fall off tables because it gets so crazy. So you're going to put this in here for 5 minutes. I probably needed it for what, a minute maybe? So I'm going to do 4 minutes and then I'm going to wash my hands just a second. Whenever you're kneading this, you're gonna knead it for that 5 minutes, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab a plastic bag. On your recipe it says label it. You don't need to label it. That's if we were in school. So you're gonna get a plastic bag. Mine looks like mermaids. It's from IKEA. See the mermaids? Under the sea. Yes. So put it in a plastic bag, pop it in the fridge for, overnight if you're not doing it for right now. If you want to make it day of or right then, you can put it on top of your stove, or what I like to do is put it at 200 and you turn your oven on to 200 degrees, and then you immediately, right when it gets to 200, turn it off. If it's sitting there at 200 for a little bit and you forget to turn it on, that's fine. But what you're going to do then is you're going to put your dough into your oven. If you do that, if you put your dough into the oven, I suggest you put it in a bowl before you put it in the oven. Don't put it in plastic because the plastic will get into your dough, okay? So if you're just leaving it on top of your stove, a good idea is just to leave it in a plastic bag or put it in a bowl and then put it in your oven. You're going to let that rest for about 30 minutes, or you can let it go for up to 2 hours if you want to and let it really rise. If you're using instant yeast, I'm using rapid rise, so mine will go pretty quickly. Okay, I will show you what the dough is looking like. So here is my dough. It is pretty wet. If it's sticky, that's fine. That's what your dough should look like. You want it to be sticky, like this. Oh. So you're gonna add a little bit of flour to this before you put it in your bag because it'll stick to your bag. Just make sure it's well floured. And then stick that in your bag. And we will wait. Welcome back. Here's our dough. Oh. So I need to take it out. It's gonna be really sticky, so make sure put some flour on your table, on your counter, wherever you're working. I might even try to put some on my hands. That. It's real sticky. So remember, we put a little flour on there too, but even still, it's a little sticky. All right. It's coming out though. There we go. All right, and then I'm gonna put a little over top. So now we are ready to make pretzels. I'm gonna throw this away. My mermaid bag. All right, there it is. Our nice thing of dough. Here, I'll move the baking soda over. So there's our dough. I won't start on it quite yet because what we need to do is we need to make our water bath for our pretzels. So I'm gonna wash my hands off. I did wash my hands before, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And then I am going to get my water. So I have boiled some water in my kettle. I'm going to measure out 1 cup. So it says on your recipe to put it in the microwave. I prefer not to put it in the microwave. I'm always worried about when you boil water in the microwave. They say you shouldn't do it. I don't like to. So I have 1 cup. Now I am using a very large pan. So I am actually going to double this recipe. Actually, you know what? I might triple it just because I have a very large pan in here. So the recipe is 1 cup to 1 tablespoon of baking soda. So I'm going to triple it so that I have enough room in here. So then how many tablespoons of baking soda do I need? 3. So I need 3 tablespoons of baking soda. So I'm going to get in there. Oh, it won't come out. I'm gonna put that in there. 1. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kind of tear this off so I can get in there. 2. And 3. Okay, and I'm gonna use this. Well, no, because I need this later. I'm going to get another spoon so I can mix that around so I can get all that baking soda up in there. There we go. And your water should look a little cloudy. That's what you're looking for. So I want to make sure that when I put my pretzels in here, that I don't get chunks of baking soda on them. So I want it to dissolve into the water. By doing this, the reason you want to put your pretzels in this water bath is because it gives it that nice crust on top of it. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say is make sure that you preheat your oven to 475. So my oven is preheated, it's working, it's getting there. So that is on its way to being ready. What I need to do next is I'm going to start cutting this. I'm going to actually get my, wait, it's over here. Been scrape. So I'm going to cut this thing into, on your recipe it says 8 pieces. You can do that. I'm going to do here, let's do 4. Well, we want strips, so let me go a little bit further down so you can see. I'm going to show you how to do pretzels, and then we're also going to do a couple other things. Okay, so when we make an actual pretzel, we're going to put a little bit more down, a little bit over top of that. I want this to be nice and floury because I don't want it to stick. So I kind of like a nice, oh, it's ready. It's preheated. Perfect. I want my pretzel to be pretty thick, and it will expand in the oven, but I want it to I want to make sure it's the same size. So what you're going to do when you do this to make that pretzel shape is you're going to make a U. Okay, so I have a U, and then I'm going to cross over and twist my centers, and then I'm going to just press down on the bottom part, and there is a soft pretzel. There we go. See him? Okay, and then you're just gonna put that in the water bath. I like them nice and thick, like I said, so. Going to do that, and then I'm going to put them right on my tray. It says on your recipe to do on a paper towel. You can do that. I just like to put it right on the tray so that I'm working fast. Okay, so the other thing, which I'll make one more of these, but so you can see it one more time. The other thing that we're gonna make is pretzel bites, which I love to make these because they're so much easier and they are good when people come over or if you just want a snack. So if you just want something to eat while you're watching this video or you're watching another video that we watch in class, classic recipe. So again, remember I'm going to cross over my, oh, I didn't twist these. Oh well, he's fine. But basically, ta-da, that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna put him in the water bath and put him on my tray. So the next part, let me get our paper towel, dry my hands off. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to make little bites, little pretzel bites. So I just roll it out like I would the rest of my, when I make a normal pretzel. And then I'm going to take, there it is, I'm going to take my bench scrape and just go down. You can use the back of a knife too. You can use a one of these. You're just cutting them into small pieces and then throw them in your water. Diddle, diddle. I'm gonna take these out and lay them on my tray. Oops! It's getting really hot in here.